This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI, they already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
I'm no tech genius, but I knew if I wanted my business to crush it, I needed a website now. Thankfully, Bluehost made it easy. I customized, optimized, and monetized everything exactly how I wanted with AI. In minutes, my site was up. I couldn't believe it. The search engine tools even helped me get more site visitors. Whatever your passion project is, you can set it up with Bluehost. With their 30-day money-back guarantee, what have you got to lose? Head to Bluehost.com to start now. Did you know adults 60 plus lose more than $60 billion each year to financial exploitation? Greenlight's new Family Shield plan empowers you to monitor your accounts for suspicious activity, protect yourself with up to $1 million identity theft coverage, and reassure loved ones that you're safe with location sharing and place alerts. Get peace of mind today at greenlight.com/protect. That's greenlight.com/protect.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, September 5th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up the context of those stories, and help each other understand.
Today, Lenovo shares some big product news at IFA in Berlin, and Threads is getting a 10,000 character limit.
Yeah, there's like an asterisk on that, which we'll talk about. But we'll get there. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Huyen Dow.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. All right, so it is IFA, a pretty major conference happening in Berlin right now. I kind of wish I was there, to be honest. It'd be fun to see all these products firsthand and be there with the energy and all that. Well, Lenovo is there, and they're taunting me with all of this hardware that I don't get to see. So I figured, why don't we talk a little bit about Lenovo and what they announced, because they didn't just bring a couple of things. It's like they released the Kraken at IFA. So let's talk about the Kraken. And I think, probably the majority of what they were announcing has something to do with laptops, obviously computing. We'll talk about gaming in a moment, but let's start with the laptops. Lenovo launched several new ThinkPad laptops targeting power users and professionals mostly. There's the ThinkPad P16 Gen 3. That has Intel's latest Core Ultra 200X processor, up to 24 cores on that one, up to 192 gigs of RAM. That just sounds like a lot to me. Every time that happens, I'm like, I can't believe we're there now. The laptop that they showed off is the most expensive of all the laptops that they brought to the show. So that starts at $3,339. So you got to be a real power user, I think, for that one. The ThinkPad P1 Gen 8 ramps things down just a tad, a little lighter, a little thinner. It still includes Intel's Core Ultra 200H series processors. That starts at $2,819, still a hefty price tag on that. And then we've got kind of some gaming PCs. The Legion Pro 7, of course, meant for gamers, has a 240 hertz OLED display, so you're going to get that fast, nice, crisp refresh, up to an AMD Ryzen 9955, maybe that's the way insiders talk about it, HX3D, also an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080. They weigh 6 pounds, So that's a heavy darn laptop, but it's a gaming laptop. I think you're probably used to that if you're a gamer. $2,399 is the cost for that, $2,399. And then Lenovo had a few other gaming machines, which I'm not going to get too deeply into because, it's a lot of PC talk, but they range anywhere from $699.99 to $1,099.99. So bringing it with the official releases of the laptops, we're going to talk about kind of some of the concept-y stuff, which is maybe a little bit more enjoyable for me anyways. But I'm not, I have a ThinkPad buried away somewhere. I'm predominantly a Mac guy. So, some of this stuff is clearly not meant for me. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm actually really compelled. Not that I unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view, am primarily also a Mac user, but that's kind of ironically the standard for Android devs like myself. But man, ThinkPads are still really good looking. Like I think if I recommend any PC or rather laptop to someone who doesn't want to use Mac, I still recommend the ThinkPads because they're just really solid and reliable. And man, that beefy one is beefy. Like beefy. I think I have a pretty tricked out M4 laptop, MacBook Pro, and I don't think it has 192 gigabytes of RAM. What do you do with all that RAM, y'all? What are you doing with that?
Running on-device AI models galore. Gaming. Yeah, I don't know what else. I mean, Motion. You used to work at Adobe, so I'm sure you're familiar. Things like After Effects probably require a heck of a lot of processor power to do some of that stuff, or at least to do it quickly, because when you work in the creative industry, I've certainly encountered this. You're limited by the speed at which your machine can kind of keep up with you. And so machines like this are, I think, designed to keep up with you.
It's amazing. Actually, even Android development, we use up a lot of memory, especially if you're using like local emulators for device testing. Those emulators are basically little devices, emulated devices, and those also take up memory. And man, even though I upgraded to 128, I'm still using a lot. So this is actually very tempting, especially with that 12 terabytes of storage and just everything else. So, and 2 Thunderbolt ports, like this is a pretty awesome machine. So yeah, I mean, if you're not a Mac person, I think Lenovo definitely has something for you for sure. I'm actually,
And with the rate that things are going, don't worry. This will be standard in like 2 years. Of course, I'm joking, but these things, they continue rolling, and I'm continually amazed at the next plateau that we get to. And then 5 years down the line, that plateau seems so quaint in comparison.
Well, it was funny because you're talking about how like the gaming laptop was chonky at 6 pounds. And I think when I was still in college or grad school 15 years ago, I bought my sister a gaming laptop for her like undergrad. And that thing was 2 inches thick, 3 inches thick. It was like a textbook in and of itself. And I forgot how much it weighed. I want to say like 10 pounds, maybe. I think
goodness.
So. It was like a Dell thing. It had crazy fans because we were big gamers at the time. But I had gotten a job, so I really wanted to like help her out. And I swear it weighed like 10. It was ridiculous, laptop.
I know they call it a laptop, but that's hardly meant for your laptop.
No. My sister's only like 5'1". It was definitely not a lapper. It was a tabletop, but it just, what do you do? All right. Well, that's kind of like the practical stuff. And there definitely are a lot of really fun experimental conceptual things that Lenovo put out. So in regards to the concept PCs that they shared, that includes a ThinkBook Vertiflex that features a 14-inch display that can rotate 90 degrees into vertical mode, perfect for coding, writing, document wrangling. They also showed off a smart motion concept stand that uses sensors to orient the laptop with the user, including gestures and voice controls. That's ideal for ergonomics and accessibility applications. It's almost like a gimbal for your laptop. Just imagine like that.
Imagine your laptop following you around, but not necessarily moving. It's not like a robot, but it's like it just wants to look at you. It just wants to keep its eyes fixed on you.
And finally, the Natura Synth display mimics natural light by using hardware-driven zero blue light technology to bring that dreaded blue light down to less than 1%.
I know the blue light thing is real. I know it's legitimate. But it's just one of those things that I never activate, and I don't know why. Like, I probably should. Maybe I would feel a difference, if I ever activated those things or, leaned into devices like that. But for whatever reason, I haven't experienced the benefits of blue light reduction. Let's just say that.
I believe that it's a thing, but also my entire life is looking at screens at pretty much every minute of the day. So I just feel that I'm a lost cause.
Yeah, you're drenched at this point.
I'm drenched in blue light.
There's blanketed in blue light.
So yeah, my brain is just going to suffer ill effects regardless. But if you are really concerned, I think it is if anything, it's a good talking point, especially since we're in the age of like digital well-being or health. What do they call it? Like just better digital health and hygiene.
Sure.
Lenovo is trying to get you covered just from the source rather than having to wear like expensive $80 blue light glasses. I think there's probably cheaper ones, but there you go.
And those are hot. Those look hot. As our resident developer, what do you think about the Vertiflex? I think about these displays. I see some people's, what do they call it? Command center or whatever you call it when you've got a bunch of displays. I'm suddenly now blanking on the name of it. But often I see the vertical display next to a horizontal display. And it took me a while before I realized, that's actually really good for, I guess, coding applications, right? Do you have a vertical display? Is this the kind of technology that you would be like, oh yeah, I could totally get down with that?
I think definitely having the option is cool. I don't have a vertical display. I just have a wide screen that I chop up into bits. But yeah, like it is, having that option is really, really nice. And also as a developer, honestly, half my life is writing documentation. So I really appreciate both. I actually could have used this the other day because I had a very long code file. So yeah, I never thought about it like that. Like having a lot, like this is just not in my imagination. And I wish y'all could see the pictures. It is kind of crazy looking to imagine just a regular laptop, but with a vertical screen. Yeah. It's crazy. And I would definitely use it. Like I never even thought about that, but I could, yes, please. Gimme.
I could see that. See that. Battle station is the word that I was looking for.
Battle station, yes.
And you got your whole setup. I guess I'm kind of looking at a battle station right now. I just don't have any vertical screens. And then finally, kind of looping back to gaming, gamers might want to check out the new Legion Go 2 Gen 2. This is Lenovo's upgraded gaming handheld, 8.8-inch OLED. I think it's 144 hertz refresh touchscreen display. It has its signature detachable controllers, improved ergonomics, Hall effect joysticks, full compatibility with previous generation and games and all that. It's a Windows handheld, of course. It's priced at $1,049, and that actually ships in October here in the US anyways. So this is not a concept. This is happening. You have handheld gaming system, right?
Yeah, we have
the Steam Deck, or
we have the Steam Deck, and we do have not the Switch 2. We did not jump on the bandwagon with everybody else and get stapled. But yeah, this is actually really compelling because it is. I was thinking at first looking at it looks like a Steam Deck, but it is more of a Switchy 2 kind of thing with the controllers. And I mean, I always like competition in my gaming sphere, and this is a pretty sexy device. It looks really good. I saw that actually the new controllers are compatible with the old thing, which I think is a really good precedent to set.
Totally,
especially with everything. But yeah, I mean, go Lenovo. It's a wonderful time to be a gamer, especially a handheld gamer.
It's a wonderful time of the year for the gamer. Sorry, I need to remember not to sing on this show. You don't need to hear me sing.
Is that a rule that we have? We don't sing?
No, it's a self-imposed rule. The problem is I commit to the bit, and then halfway through I'm like, what am I even doing right now? But I have to finish it, right?
There you go. All right. Well, with that, DTNS is made possible by you, the listener. We want to take time to thank Paul Boyer, D-Lacer, Brad. We want to welcome new patrons, Gearoid, Jules Rules, and Mark. And we want to give a big thanks to Super Geek for a patron raise. Thank you.
Oh, for the raise. Thank you, Super Geek, and
raising
all of
the roof for ya.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
When you're driving, nothing's better than a suspenseful podcast. But when you want to save on gas, drama's the last thing you want. That's why Marathon makes it easy to save with Marathon Rewards, earning you at least 5 cents a gallon in rewards with every fuel up and saving you up to $1 a gallon. Plus, signing up is easy. Do it at the pump or marathonrewards.com. So start saving with rewards from Marathon. And don't miss the Thomas Rhett Better in Boots tour this summer, fueled by Marathon. At participating locations. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
I'm no tech genius, but I knew if I wanted my business to crush it, I needed a website now. Thankfully, Bluehost made it easy. I customized, optimized, and monetized everything exactly how I wanted with AI. In minutes, my site was up. I couldn't believe it. The search engine tools even helped me get more site visitors. Whatever your passion project is, you can set it up with Bluehost. With their 30-day money-back guarantee, what have you got to lose? Head to Bluehost.com to start now. Did you know adults 60 plus lose more than $60 billion each year to financial exploitation? Greenlight's new Family Shield plan empowers you to monitor your accounts for suspicious activity, protect yourself with up to $1 million identity theft coverage, and reassure loved ones that you're safe with location sharing and place alerts. Get peace of mind today at greenlight.com/protect. That's greenlight.com/protect.
All right, there's more we need to know today. So much more. So let's get to the briefs.
All right. Well, Meta Threads now lets users attach text documents up to 10,000 characters to posts, pushing far, far, far beyond the standard 500 character limit. Users can tap a new icon to open the word editor with formatting options like bold, italics, underlines, and strike-throughs offered up in a toolbar overlay. Those text attachments will sit below the main post, and readers will need to expand them to read. Links in the post will also appear as an attachment.
Okay. So it is. So like we said up at the top, it's 10,000 characters with an asterisk. This isn't like suddenly the threads messages themselves are going to be 10,000, although I kind of wouldn't be surprised with these platforms if they go there eventually, because it seems like if your thing is like short and then eventually the growth the trajectory is, well, what if we also offer long? And then if your thing is long, then your growth trajectory is, well, what if we also offer short? So they all kind of converge together. So 10,000 characters, yes, but it's more like an attachment thing. I'll be really curious to see how this is to interact with as a user.
It's so funny. It seems to play along with the lines of like, it conforms to, and I haven't, to be perfectly frank, I haven't spent a lot of time on short on the traditional microblogging sites, including Threads. But the last I checked, it seemed like a lot of people were circumventing a lot of the previous character limits when they really want to not microblog, but proper blog on a microblogging service using like images with like text, with like screenshots of basically text documents. This feels like, okay, threading. You know what? Yeah. We're going to give you a word processor inside of your microblogging. We're just going to go there. Okay.
We've got an amazing idea. It's called a word processor in 2025. Mind blown.
Oh my goodness.
You go, Threads. I'm curious. We'll see what it's like to interact with. The European Union fined Google $2.5 billion for abusing its dominance in the digital ad tech industry, saying Google has, quote, inherent conflicts of interest along the ad tech supply chain. Now, EU regulators say Google's ad tech practices unfairly limited competition, hurt rivals, may warrant the divestiture of some of its business. So that remains to be seen. This is the second largest antitrust fine ever in the EU. That follows 2018's ruling also against Google for anti-competitive practices related to its Android operating system. Google's also involved, by the way, in a similar case here in the US. That's expected to go to trial later this month. So these cases in the two very different geographical areas kind of in lockstep to a certain degree. And Google's kind of dizzy right now just trying to deal with all of it.
And we talked about this on our other show about the other ruling with the DOJ and them not having to divest Chrome and Android. But this feels like, and that kind of felt definitely like a slap on the wrist. Like maybe some of us who were hoping to see a little more out of that didn't get anything out of that. And then on the flip side with the ads cases, it seems like they're definitely getting, would you say punched or prodded or poked, maybe like a little more, not necessarily slap on the wrist, but getting a little more substantive, like penalty.
Yeah.
Like they're actually being held to account.
Potentially so. I mean, it's, all of these things have to stand the possibility of really reshaping how Google does business based on how things, not that I thought Google was going to be forced to sell off Chrome or Android. So I really did truly think that wasn't going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if what we're seeing right now in the technology climate and the political climate of right now, especially here in the US, it seems like politically the tech companies were once facing a lot of dire straits, and now kind of things seem to be easing maybe a little bit through political pressure. Maybe that's my own biases painting the picture a little bit, but I think it's to a certain degree, it feels right. Versus the EU, where they're like, no, this is wrong. Like we're gonna push this to the end. And I think that's what's really interesting to me right now is kind of seeing how some things seemed so certain, and then they're being kind of undone. But there's so many different places around the world where these things are happening, and so I kind of thought they'd be all on the same page and going in a similar direction. Seems like that's changing a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, Apple's September 9th awe-dropping, I literally just got this pun about 10 seconds before reading this, awe-dropping hardware event will, of course, reveal new iPhone 17 models with the redesigned backplate along with the iPhone 17 Air. But Mark Gurman on Bloomberg shared more details about what else to expect, including the Apple Vision Pro's first hardware update. Okay, don't get too excited, though, as the changes are minor, including a new chip upgrade from the current M2. Apple has tested both the M4 and 5. There's also consideration of a new space black color.
Whoa.
Apple also plans to bring a brighter display and satellite connectivity to the Apple Watch Series 11.
A new space black color. The MetaQuest was always black, in color.
But is it space black, Jason?
Yes. Oh, I see. So it's more black than just straight up black.
Yes, like the depths of a black hole in your soul. No, never mind. Sorry.
None more black. Sorry, that was a Spinal Tap reference. I'm really excited for the new episode. All right, everybody. Okay, so like an upgrade, or not episode, movie. Upgrade, not major upgrade, but upgrade nonetheless. And then satellite connectivity on your Apple Watch Series 11. Oh, speaking of satellite connectivity, just real total tangent. I did not plan to go in this direction, but it just really jogged my memory because I was on a backpacking trip in the Trinity Alps last week, and I had my Pixel 10 Pro with me, and it had the little, I'm in the mountains. I'm deep in the mountains. There's no connectivity unless we, scale that peak, which happened one time. And I was like, oh my goodness, my phone started going nuts. Every other time I got the little satellite thing and I was like, oh, I can finally test out the satellite thing. Turns out my plan doesn't support it. I thought that satellite was included on T-Mobile, but apparently I'm wrong. And it just has me thinking, we don't have the answer right now, but like, what's the point of satellite connectivity as like a last result, kind of fix your scenario in a situation where you're stranded, blah, blah, blah. If you're in a place where you can't like upgrade your service to tap into it, like I couldn't use it. And I was like, oh, I thought I would be able to, but maybe that's more a me problem than anything.
No, that feels like the whole point of the satellite connectivity. That's kind of what I thought. That was my understanding. And that's how it feels like the marketing has been. Okay. This is like, I should be buying earthquake and like Godzilla insurance just in case, even though I knock on wood. Anyway, I don't know. So would you say, Jason, that your awe dropped? Your awe dropped at you would say that your awe did not drop or did drop at this slew of announcements from Apple?
Upcoming from Apple? I don't know. My awe's firmly in place. I haven't. My awe's still in my pocket. I haven't pulled it out of the pocket yet to know whether it's going to drop to the ground or rise to the sky. OpenAI will launch its own AI chip next year in a partnership with Broadcom. The custom chip is set for internal use only. OpenAI's move follows what other major tech companies, companies like Google, Amazon, and Meta have done in recent years, kind of developing or kind of owning their own chip through a partnership or however they pull that off, shifting their own reliance, in other words, on other companies' hardware. And you can imagine that other company often ends up being companies like NVIDIA, and they want to move to their own solutions. So it sounds like OpenAI is working with Broadcom to make that happen.
Okay, well, OnePlus and Hasselblad are ending their 5-year partnership as OnePlus develops its own camera system called the Detail Max Engine. No reason for the split was shared. However, OnePlus CEO Pete Lau is testing a prototype of the new camera system, which aims to bring clearer images to the company's phones. The OnePlus 14 is set to be the first phone without the Hasselblad name printed next to the camera. Parent company Oppo, meanwhile, has renewed its partnership with Hasselblad for its future products.
So Oppo and OnePlus not necessarily sharing the same camera strategy, even though sometimes the hardware kind of shares a lot between the two. I don't know. Are you going to be sad to not see Hasselblad printed next to a OnePlus camera? I've so far, I've been not unconvinced. Well, I guess kind of unconvinced. Again, really uncertain as far as like what that Hasselblad really brings to the OnePlus camera, because the OnePlus camera is fine. It's, as fine as most kind of mid to upper tier smartphones are, but definitely not cream of the crop. Definitely not best of the best. So I was really unclear as far as like what the Hasselblad color tuning and all that was really doing to the quality of the photo.
Yeah, I think with this, and then I think is it Xiaomi who has like a Zeiss partnership, something like that. It feels like for a time it was part of like the marketing premium like feel of a phone to have like a partnership with like a kind of a prestigious optical company like Hasselblad or Zeiss, but it kind of like, and it's not too far off from like the processor story. It feels like a lot of companies are being like, hey, like we want to prioritize maybe our own development, whether that's for just literally just being able to say or control their own like systems, whether it's a camera system or processor, or whether it, I don't know, has something to do with like the current again, for the 100th time, not an economist of any sort, but whether that's some response also to like supply chain or socioeconomic forces, or it kind of just all goes together. It's interesting to see. And as you said, if it's just for the name and it's not really like wowing anybody, maybe it does behoove them to kind of do their own thing and see if they can kind of create a niche for themselves, along with say the Apples and the Pixels and the other like more premier camera systems on phones.
I don't doubt that it did something. I'm sure that that relationship had benefits to the output of the camera, the pictures taken, through those lenses with that technology integrated. I'm sure it did something, but it was never the sort of thing where I was like, oh my goodness, this is miles further than we've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, okay. In some ways, it felt more like branding than anything else.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got Hasselblad on there, so see, our camera's better. Even though when you use the camera, it's kind of like, meh, it's fine. So anyways, well, speaking of cameras and photos, Google Photos now offers free users a way to animate their camera roll with an upgrade to VO3 integration. So VO2, because you may be thinking, like, I thought I already saw this in Google Photos, as I did when I read this story. But the difference is VO2 was the model that was used inside of Google Photos that began in July. So if you saw that feature in your Google Photos app, which allows you to take a single photo from your photo roll and animate it with AI, as hilarious as it usually is, that was using VO2. Now the update brings VO3's higher quality results to all free accounts. There are strict daily limits. They did not specify how many you could do in a single day, though. I think that's a little strange, but there you are. Google Photos creations, however, will not include sound generation, which was a major feature that was launched as part of VO3 earlier this summer. And maybe part of that is because I already know what I sound like. And if I animate a photo of me and then I end up sounding like Kermit the Frog, maybe I get angry. I get very upset.
Oh my
I don't
goodness. I'm kind of curious to see if the VO3 works significantly better, because I did try some and it was, at first glance, it's very impressive. And then you look a little closer and it's like, that's not me. That's not, it has become not me, like definitely uncanny valleyness, but it's a really cute thing. I really think they're trying to make VO3 happen, or VO, photos to videos. Google really wants to make this happen. They want to make fetch happen.
Well, they're certainly doing some really interesting things in that regard. VO3 was incredibly impressive. So,
okay, I'll give it another shot and see if I look more like me when I animate my photos.
No, what they need to do is well, maybe they don't. A lot of people would probably yell at me and be like, don't tell them they need to do that. But like, they already have access to your entire Google Photos library. Mm-hmm. They know what you look like 1,000,000 times because there's 1,000,000 pictures of you. True. So, instead of using one photo to create my likeness throughout that animation, use them all. Okay, that's a horrible idea. Don't do that, Google. You'll make people very upset if you do that.
It would probably improve the accuracy, though. I think that part of the suggestion is amazing. All right. Well, Facebook is trying to make Poke cool again. Users will soon find the classic Poke feature appearing more prominently on user profiles in an effort to appeal to younger users. Users will still be able to track Poke counts with friends and will be notified when they are poked. And the feature never really went away, apparently, and younger users have been using it lately, seeing a 13x spike in use last year. Users can track pokes at facebook.com/pokes.
I had no idea this was still around. I thought pokes were done.
I thought
they were gone. I thought they were poked.
Oh my gosh. I don't think did I ever poke anybody on Facebook? I know I've poked my husband in real life, when he needs to wash dishes or something, but wow. Okay. And a 13x spike is pretty impressive. The younger folks, the young people will be poking.
Gotta get that engagement somehow.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, do you need a snazzy gift for a coworker or a colleague? Well, we got something for you. We got dozens of ideas. In fact, at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. Do you want a mug, a t-shirt, a mouse pad with our new DTNS logo? Well, head on over. They're great gifts and, more importantly, a great way to support the show.
When you're driving, nothing's better than a suspenseful podcast. But when you want to save on gas, drama's the last thing you want. That's why Marathon makes it easy to save with Marathon Rewards, earning you at least 5 cents a gallon in rewards with every fuel up and saving you up to $1 a gallon. Plus, signing up is easy. Do it at the pump or marathonrewards.com. So start saving with rewards from Marathon. And don't miss the Thomas Rhett Veteran Boot Tour this summer, fueled by Marathon. At participating locations. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
And we end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, Chris points out an interesting wrinkle in the Dolby Vision 2 announcement that we discussed earlier this week.
Chris writes, hello. Samsung has never and probably never will support Dolby Vision. They only support the competing equivalent HDR Plus, which they helped develop, but it has kind of lost the content format war. Samsung has said it's because HDR Plus is license free. And it seems that Samsung thinks that they stick in long enough, HDR Plus will win, or they are in a sunken cost fallacy. LG and Sony only support DV and HDR, not HDR Plus, while some, Philips and Panasonic, also support HDR Plus. Best would be if everyone supported both HDR Plus and DV and let the content war play out. Chris.
Yeah. There's so many different formats and all those things. It's hard to get everybody on the same boat. Everybody's got their own intentions and their own end game, especially Samsung. Samsung loves to try and chart its own course when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, especially since they have kind of like the what would the tech company equivalent of clout be, or power, staying power? Samsung staying power, but I think sunk cost fallacy is not a bad evaluation, Chris, of what might be happening. And they just have the resources and patience to do it.
Yeah, that's true. What are you thinking about? If you have anything on your mind or you have insight into a story, you can share it with us. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Big thanks to Chris for contributing to today's show, and thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You can keep us in business by becoming a patron at patreon.com/DTNS. We'll see you Monday. This week's episodes of Daily Tech News Show were created by so many people. In fact, the following people: host, producer, writer, Tom Merritt; host, writer, Jason Howell; co-host, Sarah Lane; co-host, Win Twit Dow; producer, Anthony Lemos; producer, Roger Chang; editor, Hammond Chamberlain; editor, Victor Bognat; science correspondent, Dr. Nikki Ackermans; social media producer and moderator, Zoe Detterding; our amazing mods, Beatmaster, W. Scottus1, BioCow, Captain Kipper, Steve Guadarrama, Paul Reese, Matthew J. Stevens, a.k.a. Gadget Virtuoso, and JD Galloway. Mod and video hosting by Dan Christensen. Music provided by Martin Bell and Dan Luters. Art by Len Peralta. Acast ad support from Tatiana Matias. Patreon support from Bobby Wagner, and our guests this week, Andy Beach, Bodie Grimm, and a huge thank you to all our patrons who make this show possible.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Hey, it's Maya and Sim from the Girls That Invest podcast. If you are an IT or security pro, you know managing devices, identities, and applications can feel overwhelming and honestly risky. That's where Trellica by 1Password comes in. It helps conquer SaaS sprawl and shadow IT by discovering every app your team uses, managed or not. With pre-built app profiles, you can assess risk, manage access, and even optimize your software spend. Plus, it simplifies onboarding, offboarding, and compliance, all while cutting costs by eliminating unused licenses. Take the first step to better security for your team. Learn more at onepassword.com/special offer.